Hello, welcome to the show. Today we have a pleasure to talk about the real estate market. We will talk about coronavirus, but also everybody needs a home. And what is the situation of the real estate market? It is said that 15% of the market will go down this year, 2020, and 2.9 million homeowners have demanded to be deferred on their mortgage. I
Mm-hmm.
would like to understand exactly how is the situation in Broward County where I live in South Florida. Real
Mm-hmm.
estate, it is always said, it is location, 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 local. To better understand this situation, I have the district honor to interview today Danielle Gilchrist. She's a realtor, a professional in our community. Welcome to this show, Danielle.
Thank you. Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here. How are you today?
I'm doing fantastic. I'm doing fantastic. How about you?
I'm great. I
Oh,
am wonderful. I'm giving thanks. I'm quarantined, but still very thankful. I'm in the same boat as most people are.
so I am told that realtors are doing well nowadays.
Yeah, absolutely. It all matters about, the way you look at things.
Mhm.
Um, a saying that we usually use from my brokerage, Keller Williams, Coral Springs, is change the way you look at things, and the things you look at change. So
Mm.
mindset and your perspective, and not only as a realtor, but any business owner, in this market will definitely have to shift and pivot. Um,
Mhm.
their business tactics, their mindset, their daily activities to be able to actually survive this market, and just survive what's actually happening right now. Because the reality of the situation is that, there's a lot of anxiety among us, there's a lot of fear going around. And those two emotions are a recipe for
Mhm.
faster when it comes on to business. And just they can make so many things just happen, in a
Okay,
minute. Yeah,
let's dig deeper in the market. Have you
right.
seen have you seen the real estate market in your area? What can you tell us? What is the state of the real estate?
That's how you did. I heard what you did there. That was pretty clever. Okay, so first and foremost, the real estate market is extremely local in nature. All right. So that's the first thing that we have to understand. What's happening in Atlanta, Georgia has no effect on what's happening here. What's happening in Miami might also be different from what's happening in Broward County. And we can even go as deep as what's happening in Coral Springs and Parkland is also not necessarily in Sunrise or Plantation. So it's an extremely local market. And so important to be well informed and expert in that market. All right.
Mhm.
My focus is mostly on the Coral Springs, Tamarack, that those areas pretty much, Margate. And what's happening in those areas right now, the average price of homes is between maybe 250 to 300
Mhm.
there. And the market is pretty steady based on what I'm seeing. Um, it is not as booming as it was before. If you look at the numbers from last year to this year, and that's for obvious reasons. The buying power is not as strong anymore because there are a lot of people who, have been furloughed. A lot of people have been laid off. They've lost their jobs, lost their income. And at the end of the day, the bottom line is, in order to get financing for a home, those are the things that the banks and lending institutions look at. They look at the risk level, and,
Mhm.
you know, they want to know that you're able to actually make your payments.
Now I also understand, Daniel, we are at the inception of this crisis. Of
Yes.
course, people have it gone to work for the last 3, 4 weeks. You mentioned real estate is local, but what we have seen with coronavirus, this is very global, and it is impacted 22 million people have lost their jobs. If
Yep.
they do not have a jobs, maybe they will not pay their homes. How do you understand that?
Okay. So there's a number of different things that affect the real estate market. I mean, you're asking about how it affects like the home prices and whether it drives it up or down.
Now, do you expect prices to go down?
Based on the trends right now, the inventory that we're seeing is, it's getting higher. Homes are staying on the market or starting to be on the market for a longer time. And that generally drives prices down. The reason for that is because the more homes that are on the market, it's a little bit more competitive for people who are trying to sell their homes. There are more sellers than there are buyers, supply and demand. So you can kind of pick, choose, and refuse. And if you want to get your home sold, you're going to have to make an offer or accept an offer that you might not had been willing to accept 3 months ago. And that's just the reality of the situation. And, if things continue the way they are right now, I don't have, so.
No, I understand.
There's no way that I can actually predict anything. I don't think any of us can.
Nobody knows.
Yeah, because I know the government is doing a lot to, save the economy or try to save the economy. And, no one really knows and can predict what's going to happen. No one predicted Corona. But based on the trends, it is possible that homes are going to be on the market for longer, and that tends to drive the prices down. Will we have another 2008 where you're going to, get a steal and they're going to be, so low that almost anybody could, afford to buy a certain home? I don't necessarily think that that's going to be the case.
Because lots of people said the economy that we had prior Corona won't be the economy we'll be having. Now, what about the real estate market? Do you expect what is the thinking in Keller Williams right now? What do you see? What will be the trends coming in home buying and home selling?
Okay, so it's interesting that you asked about so I know for a fact that there are a lot of people who, because of the anxiety and they're not understanding what's going on in the market, and they're not sure what's going to happen. There are a lot of people who are kind of pulling the brakes on things, and I think the primary thing is you really have to do what's best for you as an individual, and to make the best decision on behalf of yourself and your family, under good guidance from, a realtor or a lender who, is experienced and can guide you properly as to what direction to take. Because at the end of the day, the number of homes being sold or bought will never be zero. It will never be zero. People will always need somewhere to live, and business is still happening. In fact, if I go to my local MLS right now, in the last 7 days in Broward County, 556 new homes hit the market.
So there are still business.
Yes, in the last 7 days, and there have been 532 closed sales in the last 7 days, single family homes in the entire Broward County. So, in fact, I would say that now is actually a great time if you really do need to sell your home or to buy a home, because if you think about it, everyone else is kind of drawing the brakes and saying, okay, I'm going to wait until this crisis is over. That kind of eliminates the competition. So if you're a seller, there's less homes that are going to be on the market right now, because there are a lot of people who are thinking, let me just wait this out and see what's going to happen. So that's less homes for you to compete with. And not only that, the figures show, the numbers show that there are still people looking to purchase homes as well. So you kind of get to filter out the kind of people that are coming to you with offers. You're really going to see who are more serious about purchasing a home. And
I'm having my conversation today with realtor Danielle Gilchrist. She's a realtor with Keller Williams in Coral Springs. And we talked about the real estate market, the location, and the trends coming post-coronavirus. Now, my questions, with social distancing, quarantine, isolation, how do you work? Do you work from home? How do you show a home? What is the new way of being a realtor today?
That's a great question. I'm glad you asked that. So we have to be able to adapt to anything. Just as we're doing a Zoom interview, we are virtual with pretty much everything. We want to keep ourselves safe. We want to keep our community safe. So no, you will not be driving around with your realtor looking at different homes. It's not business as usual. However, everything is more on a virtual platform, and you're able to actually go ahead and see the home. There are virtual closings. You could speak to a lender virtually as well. I do virtual buyer's consultations, listing appointments. Everything can be done, via Zoom. You can, do it over the internet. And one might be wondering, how do you market a home when someone can't actually see it? Technology, there's a technology that some photographers have called a Matterport that will actually allow you to have a 360 high quality, high definition view home. So it's almost as if you're in a virtual reality. You can actually walk through the home. You can down, right, 360 degrees all around. We're finding that that's extremely, extremely valuable in a time like this, and people are responding positively to it. So
I like that. The place that will be your home, you can virtually see it from different angles.
Absolutely.
Now, how do you see lending? Because not only we need a home, but also we need money. Now with the interest rate is so low, but even that, people need to be qualified to find money. How do you see that trend coming?
That's a very interesting question. This week, 30-year fixed mortgages, they are down to, I believe, 3.31%. Extremely low. And before the whole lockdown and quarantine, there was a very large wave of people doing refinances. And so the market in terms of that, started to become a little bit more volatile, especially with the stock market going down, people again having fear and anxiety about the coronavirus, and that kind of trickled down into every sector. But what it really and truthfully comes down to is your personal situation. You meet with a lender who's able to qualify you and say, okay, well, if you're still earning and you still have an income, you still have a certain credit score and you still meet certain requirements, then absolutely you can push forward. But the reality might be that, you don't have an income coming in. And at the end of the day, the banks have to know that you are going to be able to repay the money that you're borrowing for the home. And if you're not qualified at this point in time due to your situation, it's just a condition that, at some point you will, be able to solve, but right now might just not be your time. But if it is, it doesn't necessarily mean that the borrowing of money is harder per se.
Well, what I get from what you said is that you may be in a new situation with your finances, with your job situation. Now it will take longer for you to get qualified depending on the banking institutions, compliance, and so forth. Now, you being a professional, how do you see your career evolving? I will tell a story. This was a Saturday morning, and I heard a knock on my door, and I I was on a videos call like this one, and then I went to the door. I saw you. You had your pen, your clipboard, and you were conversing. I thought this was an elections. Usually in election time, that happens, but no. As I wrote on my blog, Roosevelt JF.com, if you go, you will read the whole story, the way I met you. Now, what is the new ways of doing business now? Now, what do you do? Do you build your portfolio of people? What is it that you do now?
Okay, so that's all. You're asking a lot of very interesting questions. I like your questions. I have an answer for you. So the core of my business and what I do has not changed. It's about building relationships. It's about making connections and coming from a place of value and contribution. So yes, I did knock on your door and I met you. I followed up with, we met, we had coffee, we got to know each other and, got to know what each of our businesses was about. And we, built a connection that, can continue to build. And so even though I'm not able to meet with someone physically, this, again, thank God for this kind of technology and these kind of platforms, just calling, following up with people, reaching out, saying, hi, how are you doing? How, are you managing with Corona? What's going on? Is there anything I can help you with? Is there any sort of education that I can provide? Because there are a lot of people who really, really want some valuable information. I'm in a position to share that, then absolutely. And I believe that this will.
And I'm told your generation, you
Yes.
do better with those virtual things.
Yeah.
You are generation W or generation Y, Z?
No,
What?
Z is very, very young. I think Z's are in high school still.
Oh, I thought you were very, very young as well. So, okay.
No, I'm a millennial.
Oh, you're a millennial. Okay, so that means you are those people who they work up with a phone, and you were born before BC, that is before computer.
That's funny. You know what? I have memories actually of the first computer in my home. I don't know, 1997 or something like that.
Okay.
It was Windows 97, I think. And I remember how fascinating it was. Like, wow, and all the games.
That's something.
Look at where we are now.
So now this is my last question. What is your vision in what you do? You studied a career as a professional. You could have been working, but you decide to be an entrepreneur because that's what I understand you are. You work with a firm, but within the firm, you have your own portfolio of business. You have your books of business. And now you are facing that cloud, even if you're telling me things are booming, but the more I talk with people, the more I also understand that people do not see that far in the future. And how do you see for yourself? What is the vision that you are casting in what you are doing?
Well, for my vision, I believe that this is an opportunity. There are really two ways that you can always look at a crisis. You can look at it as, take it for what it is and just see it as a crisis, as something negative, or you can view it as an opportunity to grow, an opportunity to get out of your comfort zone and learn something new, an opportunity to make more connections and help people. And I believe that my vision is really to grow as much as I can, to help as many people as I can, and to just kind of catapult into the market, because when this thing is over, I would have already had laid that foundation and built that pipeline of people who, believe in me and trust in me as a professional. And not only as a professional, but as a person, to know that I have their best interests at heart, that they can trust me, that I know what I'm doing, and that I care about them. So my vision is definitely that. I plan to take it very far, and mindset is everything. who you surround yourself with is extremely important. Read as much as you can. I have like a whole bunch of books.
The one, I think next, I'm putting a book club together. That is our next one. Maybe we will have a conversation about this book.
Yes, I actually remember that we hit it off on that book. I actually thought you were a realtor. I walked away. I was like, oh, this guy's a realtor.
No, I'm not a realtor. I just have realtors friends. That's all what it is. And I do agree with you. You also learn from your friends. That's why you have to pick your friends. Let's say you read a book and I'm having a conversation with you. When I'm asking you a question, I invite you to power your mind into my mind. This is like I'm reading the book through you. But nobody will replace me reading this book. That will be our next conversation, talking about the books you read. I was having a conversation today with my friend, Danielle Gilchrist. She's a realtor based in Coral Springs, Tamac, right here in Broward County in South Florida. And also, she is an entrepreneur looking for ways. We said entrepreneurs are those when facing issues, problems, they find ways to pivot, to find solutions. A business person is just someone selling something. An entrepreneur is a problem solver. And that's what I've seen in you, Danielle Gilchrist.
Thank you so much.
Tell me something. If I need to contact you, I need to purchase a home, I need to list my home, how can I contact you?
Oh, absolutely. I am very easy to contact. My phone number is 754-707-3529. You can call me at that phone number. Social media, you can also follow me on all platforms. It's Danny, your realtor, no space, DANIYOURREALTOR. I'm on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter, on all platforms.
You name it.
You name it, I'm on it.
I remember the very same day, and then you gave me your card, and then I went to Instagram, I added you. It seems to me one flicking of second after, then you followed me as well. Wow, you do business at the speed of the light.
That's what's required these days.
Oh, I didn't know that. Anyway, this is just our first conversation. You can, if you want to know more about Danielle Gilchrist, I invite you to read my blog, RooseveltJF.com. We had a good conversation and I reported about it. And today we spoke about the state of the real estate market. My name is Roosevelt JF, and I invite you to subscribe to this channel as well. Have a great day.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.